wait, guys. Okay, so I'm doing an experiment with this video. There's two different versions of the thumbnail. The normal version that I usually do, and also a custom artwork version illustrated by a local artist here in Georgia, Jimmy Jam Boom Bam. Because I always like those YouTubers that get custom artwork for their thumbnails. It really makes it feel special. So tell me in the comments below which version you got, which one you clicked on. And also, you can get this artwork as a sticker and trading card if you sign up on my Patreon before January. Just letting you know. Also, go check out Jimmy Jam Boom Bam. Their link is in the description below.
Whiskers.
I was watching videos of the Spirit Halloween furry head, and it made me think two things. One, my culture is not your costume, how dare you? And two, isn't Thundercats just like 80s furries? And if Thundercats were furries, then some of our parents were closet furries and they probably didn't even know it. Chitara may have been their Lola bunny. And now if it's generational, maybe furries aren't as weird as we think they are. And in case you couldn't tell by the avatar that I use for this channel, I kind of fuck with furries. It's not my whole personality like how some people make it, but also I get it, wink wink. It released in 1985 after He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And it was, you know, to sell toys. I mean, there was a lot of the toys that even like copied the models that were used for He-Man.
She's so beautiful. In a kind of evil way, of course.
Liono gets it. For some reason, they were all in a big spaceship and Tigra was just chilling in his birthday suit. And I think Chitara is wearing just underwear. They're all naked. What the? Actually, they're not furries. They're actually aliens. Their homeworld, Thundara, was destroyed and they fled their planet. You should actually compare them to more like Superman than anything else if you really think about it. There's even early development sketches of Liono, but he was originally called Lion-L, like Kal-El, Superman, and also Panthro was just some guy. Some of you may be arguing that Thundercats has always technically been an anime because even though the original was written by Americans, it was animated in Japan. And you're right! The same animation company, Pacific Animation Corporation, great name by the way, wow, that gave us Thundercats, also gave us Chippendale Rescue Rangers, but that's because they were bought out by Disney eventually. So like that doesn't count. What did they make before Disney? Oh, ew. Anything else? I'm sorry, what? So Thundercats is one of those classic cartoons that your parents watched and thought was really cool. We'll skip forward several years to 2011 and Cartoon Network was trying to find something that could compete with Nickelodeon's Avatar: The Last Airbender. They know that Nickelodeon was cooking up a sequel that was coming out next year, so they needed something now for 2011. Well, wouldn't you have it, the stars aligned. An animator that worked for Avatar came to Cartoon Network saying they want to do a Thundercats reboot that was basically in the same animation style as Avatar. This guy is Ethan Spalding. Animation nerds, you probably heard about him. He has a lot of credentials in the animation space, but what's this? Michael Jelenic, I really hope I'm pronouncing his last name right. He wants to work on it too? The guy who worked on, hang on, I have a prop for this. Batman, the Brave and the Bold? And you know, eventually Teen Titans Go, but you know, that hasn't happened yet. So you had an established animator and a DC Batman nerd that worked on a lot of DC properties. What could go wrong? Well, I'll tell you, nothing goes wrong earning real money playing mobile games with Free Cash, today's sponsor. Free Cash lets you earn money while playing app games. There's a list of goals set out for you to achieve, and you earn real money for every goal you accomplish. Free Cash recommends games right on the home screen, sorted by the highest rewards you can get. I've been playing Disney Solitaire, which like isn't really solitaire, but the puzzle mechanics are actually kind of fun, actually. Just select which one you want and start playing on your couch while you have that TV show you already watched 1,000 times because you need 2 screens in front of you because you're afraid of being alone with your thoughts. Just make sure you enable in-app tracking so that they can properly reward you for your epic gaming sessions. Unlike other sites that make you wait until you accumulate $100 before you get a payout, Free Cash lets you get a payout with just 20 bucks, giving you your money faster. And they'll pay you through PayPal, through Bitcoin, through gift cards, and more. There's over 5,000 games and surveys, and you might just find your next favorite game. Free Cash has the best rewards for in-app purchases, with direct cashback, better service, and higher overall earning multipliers. There's even a built-in referral system. And you're already earning real cash you can use for your next meal delivery because work is stressful and you're too tired to cook. Their 4.8 stars on Trustpilot tells you that you can earn money while standing in line for insert trendy product, or on the bus, or on a road trip. Start earning free cash now. Just use the QR code or the link down below to sign up. And new signups get a $5 bonus. My dad grew up watching Thundercats, and this came out right when he was showing me a bunch of 80s movies like Better Off Dead and Revenge of the Nerd. So he figured this would be a really cool way to bridge his childhood with my childhood. The feeling is grandiose. There isn't the cheesy Saturday morning vibe that it used to have. It accepts that this isn't just a bit of a silly concept. There's a lot of really cool ideas instilled in Thundercats.
Now, I'm gonna gut you like a fish.
Who can I thank for the assist?
Chitara.
Hello.
Hello there.
We all know Chitara is fine, and if you disagree, I know you're lying. You'd smash too. One shocking change is that they made Liono more along the lines of a teenager or young adult, which really upset my dad because he wanted the big old beefcake of a snack that was the 80s Liono. But this more youthful version of Liono really appealed to my generation more, and they managed to take unique liberties with the story as well as keeping true to the original plot, so it felt like my dad was getting to re-experience Thundercats all over again. Everything takes place on Third Earth. We learn about the separation of magic and technology, so much so that they believe technology is a myth, and probably one of the most iconic swords in animation history is well and present right from the get-go, and the sound effects are so good.
Uh-oh. Catch!
The book told that it was the Thundercats, our ancestors, who first defeated Mum-Ra, who are strong enough to maintain this fragile peace.
My dude is straight up aura farming over here, dang. I'm a sucker for aura farming. I had the toy of this sword when I was a kid, and it was a hoot and a holler. So you may notice that lizards are the slave class and the cats are the ruling class, because nothing like speciesism to add easy world building.
You were captured as slaves. Forget it. Looking for mercy from cats is like trying to squeeze water from a stone.
So Liono gets a lecture on critical lizard theory, and his frontal lobe develops enough to learn empathy.
Wily cat and kid at your service.
They're little babies now, look at them, I love them. What was really missing in the original 80s series is that the Thundarians' culture. You'd be surprised how much world building contextualizes their actions and makes engaging with the narrative so much more fulfilling. Showing the rivalry between brothers from the beginning and actually giving all these characters individual flaws that can be used against them. It's warriors, but high fantasy. And also, Liono and Tigra are brothers now. I love how Liono wants to be a good king. He wants to lead his people. He believes in what is right, but others just don't understand him. He really is that plucky shonen protagonist. Together with their ability to empathize with people that look different than them, they form a team of incredibly cool and attractive fighters to fix all of society.
I don't know, what is going on here?
Fun fact, the guy who voices King Claudius is actually the original voice of Liono.
It's just as I said. There is something different about you.
I ship them so hard. A very welcome change is also that Snarf is just a cute little pet and doesn't talk.
No mention of old Snarf, I noticed. Snarf, Snarf, go ahead.
Wouldn't you believe it? The Scalies launch an attack Helm's Deep style, and now Liono looks like a big dum-dum for arguing on their behalf. Time for this big boy to do more aura farming. All the while, even more Scalies launch an attack Trojan Horse style. You aren't gonna believe this, but the lizards straight up got missiles and bombs and mechs. Dang, being a Scaly is looking pretty good right now. Did they team up with the Protogens? The wacko failure prince is now the only person with a chance at putting up a worthwhile resistance. And betrayal? We're ticking all the boxes here, my guy. These are all the things that make fantasy nerds wet. best part is they also show how their magic has some weight behind it too. Jaga and Chitara bust in like a bunch of ninjas to whoop ass. I cast Lightning Bolt.
Luckily, I know a thing or two about it, you traitor!
I love that oomph behind how he said, traitor! Gave me the chills. And the Sword of Omens is basically just a shard blade. Dude, the show is so freaking cool.
Now help me.
Oh, you thought that was an insane twist? Wrong. We gotta Shyamalan this thing and add another. Now we finally see the big bad from the ages, the icon himself, Mum-Ra.
What a twist! Your stories neglect to tell you that the stone in that sword is mine.
Now I need to prep you guys. You're about to see some of the best aura farming that has ever graced television screens. Are you ready?
You took my father's life. Thunder! 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 Thundercats!
Thunder! 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 Sword of Omens, give me sight beyond sight! There we go. Okay, so maybe their whole world didn't blow up like in the original, but they got away. And I feel like this serves as a much better way to start the show rather than just showing the aftermath.
The Book of Omens lies at the foot of the setting sun. You must find it before Mum-Ra does.
I love the opening to this show. They gave it a full hour to like properly lay down the foundation of the world and the characters. And none of it felt rushed. The pacing was handled so well. And at no point was I bored. If they weren't progressing the plot, they were progressing the characters. If they weren't progressing the characters, they were progressing the world building. How did this not become like a super popular kids show? They made sure to include the most integral part to Cats, the fated cat distribution system.
Sorry, kids.
Just so you know, we're not following you. You're just walking in front of us.
You have a sand sea where the sand acts as waves and the pirates are fish that keep water on their ship so they can survive. Like, that's just an awesome idea. This is just something I think is funny. So here's the formula of the show. Liono is still immature and still isn't fit for being a king. But every episode, they encounter a new person or problem, and it not just teaches us a lesson, it teaches Liono a little bit more about himself and what he needs to be a better man, or cat.
Into the storm we go! What are you doing? Not letting anything stand in my way. Not a storm, not you.
5 minutes later.
The crew, they're going to drown. We can always get a new crew. Isn't it the crew we're fighting for?
Come on, man.
So Mum-Ra is obsessed with the Book of Omens, the second half of the Sword of Omens, and finding the book is the main goal of Liono and the Thundercats. And Mum-Ra traps Jaga in a magic lantern, turning him into a ghost slave that will guide Mum-Ra to the book. So now it's a race. When I said I wanted to be sucked up, that's not what I meant. You're telling me we have like a villain that's actively pursuing their goal and not just delegating all the work to the lackeys and never actually going anywhere? Mum-Ra is like actually cool. Okay, I know this is very early in the show, but I need to tell you guys about my favorite episode. I think about this episode even today. Everyone stumbles upon tiny plant people in the middle of a birthing ceremony and at the same time, a funeral. And this little twerp thinks that Liono is so cool and unique and interesting and he's never seen anything like them before. They're also displaced from a massive windstorm. And now they're stranded and the world is just too big for them to figure out their way home. But the twerp has an old map and a whole bunch of hope. Liono agrees to help them find their way home.
When I grow up, I want to be like you, Liono.
Enjoy your childhood. Trust me. You'll miss it when it's gone.
A bird swoops up the twerp, drops him, and literally like less than a minute passes and the twerp already has grown up to be a twig.
Rick's just a boy.
Maybe the last time you saw me, but I suppose I was lost in the woods a long time.
Not that long.
Their whole lifespan is exactly 1 day, but for them, it's exactly 1 lifetime. Bird comes back, round 2, Liono steps in to save the day, Twig gets upset and stomps off, and you guessed it, he's a young man when they see each other again. The meaning behind this episode is really just teaching Liono that it doesn't matter how short or insignificant your life is, so long as you put everything you have into living it well. And that's what we see with this little hero that looks up to Liono. He doesn't think about how small he is. He doesn't think about his weaknesses. All he focuses on is utilizing his strengths in what ways he can.
You were great out there, Emmerich.
Well, I had a pretty good role model.
Just when they find the bridge that will sail them across the winds to their home, that was a whole day, and Emmerich is at the end of his life, but he doesn't regret anything.
In the end, what matters isn't how long we've lived, but how fully we've lived.
I'm not crying. You're crying. Shut up. Man, that's a good episode. Literally changed me inside. I love that episode so much. And then they all fly off, and it's like the end of a Ghibli movie. What better way to end the episode than to show off that sweet machine that rips through mechs like Swiss cheese? The toy that I was never able to afford as a kid, and inside is one, the only, Panthro. You want something absolutely wild? We get a flashback, and I think Liono's grandfather or something used to work for Mum-Ra, conquering planets and all that jazz. Intergalactic warfare. The past is super futuristic sci-fi, and now the now is old magic, kind of like Star Wars. But this flashback shows that the stone that is inset in the Sword of Omens comes from Mum-Ra's conquest, and he has his own mummy-mobile. Oh wow, they already found the Book of Omens, that was fast. Sprinkle in some torture, then Floating Head Man actually can break out of the lantern. He was just waiting to look like a hero before doing it, I guess. Now Floating Head Magic Man is gone. Big sad. Who cares, we got the book.
Oh, what does it say? It says nothing. It's blank.
Guys, you wouldn't believe it, but the Sword of Omens is blank too. In order to read the book, you must become one with the book. Convenient flashback time. It's time to learn about his grandfather, but he has to figure it out. He doesn't just get to watch and learn, so Mum-Ra was creating his own super special sword and wanted that super special gem that he can, so that he can be the most super special evil conqueror at the party.
Don't worry, I have faith in you, Leo.
Hey, at least you got some pussy on the side. If Mum-Ra gets a cool sword, I want a cool sword! And that's exactly what the rebellion forces have done. Guys, this whole time, the square goes into the circle hole. It all makes sense now.
And I have the other 3.
My dude has got the Infinity Gauntlet. 7 years before Infinity War. It's the Infernity Gauntlet. Laugh at my jokes. Lay epically cool sword, battle of ultimate destiny, and Leo/Liono got a gem. Fool! This isn't even my final form. So these gems give you cool armor powers, it looks like, and the more gems you have, the more fashionable you are. Yeah, I just wanted to add this part because I think his design is badass. I mean, look at this. That's an armor set I'd bust my butt to get in Dark Souls. Liono eventually somehow wins with the power of being the main character. Oh, you thought Mum-Ra was the only one that gets an upgrade? We're going full Super Sentai with this, my guy. Time for lion armor that doesn't look as good as Mum-Ra's, if I'm being honest, but the Gold Ranger doesn't always have the best designs. Now he got all the old stones. Okay. Now, snap your fingers. Just trust me. Then they crash to Third Earth, and they do a big ol' smooch because that's what you do before you crash land. It's in every astronaut's training manual. Just trust me. Okay, back to present. Jeez, Liono. Looks like you were really caught up in a good book. Here's where the show loses a lot of its appeal. Now, it's often a bunch of one-off episodes, and what they don't touch on is the unique character dynamics they have with each other. Liono and Tigra don't really fight or bicker with each other anymore. Liono doesn't beat himself up trying to learn to be a better king. Chitara hasn't really had any development. She's just the cool, hot cleric person. I would think she'd be more hung up on Jaga passing. Their flaws are ignored for the sake of episodes that can be re-aired whenever needed, which is important. Random digestible episodes are important for people who may be influenced to start watching regularly. This wasn't abnormal. But a quip here or line there would really make this feel like they aren't forgetting what made the story so juicy in the first place. And don't even get me started on Wily Kit and Wily Cat. It's like they only remember to incorporate their interpersonal dynamic during an episode that actually progresses the story, which also is normal. You kind of wonder how many episodes is actually necessary to consume the primary story. Like, here they have a race against each other, just for fun. That's all I ask for. And it's only in an episode where they find the elephant people who supposedly have the spirit gem MacGuffin, and Liono is learning to fully utilize sight beyond sight, which a lot of my friends said sounded corny, but I don't get how. Like, sight beyond sight is just clairvoyance or scrying. You're not just looking very far away. Sight beyond sight is cool.
Word of omens. Give me sight beyond sight.
Now they kind of dropped the rivalry of who deserves to be king since the Sword of Omens chose Liono. You can't really change that. Now the conflict is between who gets the foxy mama they both have a hard-on for. Panthro.
There was a reason the sword chose you.
It's probably the same reason she's gonna choose me.
And just like the sword, one more thing you don't deserve.
Okay, you wanna know how another way this show is connected to Avatar? There's an episode where they go into a magic forest for Liono's training, and these paper magicians say they're protecting the forest against this big evil bird. Liono figures out that the bird is actually the good guy, and this bird has the same voice actor as the guy who voiced Wan Shi Tong from the library in Avatar.
Have you not been paying attention?
The sword can't be used against a force of good.
Interesting theory.
Very well. I'll let you peruse my vast collection.
The middle of the season starts dropping little flashbacks to when they were younger, going through training, how they met each other, and if you followed this channel for a while, you know I'm a big fan of flashbacks. I think they're so effective. But this is actually not Tigra's backstory. We're actually focusing on Chitara wanting to join the clerics and proving herself to them. This is my second favorite episode. I also think about this one a whole lot, probably because Jaga reminds me a lot of Nadjarin from Chaotic, and I'm obsessed with Chaotic. I'm gonna keep this short. Chitara boasts about being fast, but she can't pace herself to get through the obstacle course. She bum rushes and fails her test. They straight up tell her that she needs to learn patience or she's not getting into the club.
I've got nowhere else. I'm not leaving until you let me in.
Did you know the voice actor for Jaga is also the same voice actor who did Yen Sid and Ansem the Wise from Kingdom Hearts?
The final trap was a test of patience.
He did not voice Nadjarin. That would have been so funny if that were the case, because I did not look that up prior to writing that in the script. I typed it in and I'm like, is he actually the voice of Nadjarin? He might be. No, he's not. But he did do a lot of cool other things. So she shows her ability to learn patience by not moving outside of that building for like a really long time. She gets to the point where she's starving and Jaga gives in and says, yeah, okay, you can be a cleric, I guess. But the coolest part is that they foreshadowed this in episode 6, way back when they were still trying to find the Book of Omens. She was the one who was able to go through a tunnel of traps because of her training. That is so well done.
Astral plane is unlike anything you've ever encountered.
I believe in you.
I'm going with you.
I see something, a vision. You will know a betrayal from your brother like you have never known.
So the two of them go into the spirit realm to hunt down the spirit stone, and they don't know that Mum-Ra followed them and he plans to exacerbate their rivalry. Tigra feels like Liono has handed everything to him while Tigra had to work for what he wanted because Tigra's adopted. So it's hard not to harbor malice toward your brother in that sense. It's also the dynamic between the two main characters in How to Sell a Haunted House that I recommend reading. Good book, just saying, not related to the video at all. I read books other than the Stormlight Archives, guys, come on.
I always thought the branch snapped by itself. You broke it.
Then they remember that Tigra actually took accountability for what he did. President Tigra saves him, and now they're okay. They just needed to have a cat fight and work off all that testosterone and sexual frustration. Do you think they're in heat? I think they're in heat. Liono finds the Spirit Stone, and the obvious solution is to punch it really hard, suck up its essence, and mission accomplished. Like, obviously, guys, when you don't know what to do, just punch it really hard. That's what cartoons taught me. Unironically, this happens a lot. Also, Panthro kills that one guy who betrayed the king, so that's a nice bonus. He did lose his arms in the process. Panthro really is a foxy mama. What a bamf. But wait, remember how they said Liono would be betrayed? Chitara tells Tigra that she chooses him, and Liono is cucked. That's fair. Like, I know it's ultimately Chitara's choice, but if we're boiling it down, Liono gets to be king and to get the Sword of Omens. Tigra can have Chitara, that's just fair. It would feel a little mean if Tigra got nothing. But if we're being serious, Tigra and Chitara aren't a great couple. Now, me and Chitara, that would be a great couple.
What the heck? I'm right here. You literally just proposed.
Okay, me, Isabella, and Chitara, that would be a great throuple.
I'm okay with that. Yes, please.
That reminds me. Thanks for watching my back.
Well, your back's real easy to watch.
Just fuck already!
Sorry.
Don't be. I'm happy for both of you.
Honestly, that's nice. I love that. It really feels like we buried the hatchet here. He's growing up. They're all growing up. That's a lie. Only if you would grow up, you jerk! The wily comedic relief just get hoverboards. They don't say how, they just have them now. Screw you, don't ask, they probably stole them. Now we actually have to deal with Liono being upset with Chitara. I mean, she did smooch him several times, he felt like he was being led on, and she really was leading him on. And she tells him the reason she followed him is because Jaga asked her to watch over him, which also hurts a whole lot. He grew closer to Tigra and farther from Chitara. Panthro becomes the next Full Metal Alchemist. Cyborg would be happy to have a spiritual brother like him. Or do you think Panthro is just Cyborg's persona? Then Liono starts just being a massive jerk to everyone, and Tigra and him have beef again. So what was even the point? Did he actually grow up or not?
Or lose his temper.
You're all against me?
It's not us, kid. You're your own worst enemy.
Then Liono almost dies. He gets sucked up into the spirit realm, then he has to complete several trials where he actually has to listen to his friends and learn from them so that he isn't such a massive jerk face.
You don't look before you run, either.
You sure took the hard way down, Liono. There's always an easier way, you just never look for it.
She said I had to win. She didn't say I had to do it alone.
This is basically a training arc, but it's a maturity training arc, which I feels fresh to me. Instead of just learning new magic or kung fu moves, he's learning life lessons that will help him against his war against Mum-Ra. And I think that's such a cool approach to this trope. I love it when a show is introspective, which is also probably them trying to compete with Avatar to a certain degree, because Avatar also heavily focuses on introspection and, you know, inner strength for their character growth. But whatever the reason, I love it. I have a soft spot for brooding, introspective characters, because unlike most people, my frontal lobe is actually developed. I had ego death in like 2nd grade. Here's the twist. During his final trial, Tigra teaches Liono that he doesn't have faith in himself to be a good king and is given the goth key. So he says, fine, I'll up the ante. I'll wager my soul for at least one afternoon to save my friends. I'll sacrifice everything I have in order to actually be a good king. He's put back into his body, and he has until sunrise to save his friends, or he'll be trapped in limbo forever and ever. Utilizing what he learned from his trials, he circumvents his obstacles and manages to save his friends from Mum-Ra's evil lair. Character arc complete. The weakest link, that being Liono, has learned to be a real leader, passed his final trial, and his heart is now in the right place. Okay, now we kind of just focus on giving every character a little bit more backstory and expanding on who they are. Like, the wily kids are pretty much never a major part of the plot. So they get at least one whole episode where they get a sad and tragic backstory and how they lost their parents. And then they're still just used as comedy relief and get no real character development. But hey, at least you can feel for them now, I guess. Good episode. Oh, wait, I thought they were orphans. Only their dad died and they left their home to find treasure to support their mom. I guess that's noble, but they've been gone for a long time. Their mother has to be horrified. Oh no, I'm old now. Now, I really applaud the writing because it knows that interesting characters are what make an interesting story, not an interesting plot. The plot always comes after the characters, or at least it should. But they have an episode where they talk a little bit about the in-world politics, specifically on how the Thunderians view Liono. Up until now.
You act like I'm your enemy.
A king would not have abandoned his people when Thundera fell, and a king would have done something for them by now.
We haven't really seen any other cats. We were pretty much operating off the idea that Mum-Ra probably successfully committed genocide. So hearing that they're still out there, and Liono having to learn another aspect of being king is instilling hope into your people. It was a shocking addition to the show because the entire time we're wondering, what are you the king of? A destroyed kingdom? A kingdom of 5, 6 people? And Snarf? Thundera fell, there's no kingdom. You can't be king without a dom. Insert kink joke here. Plenty of short kings have doms. Boom, there we go. Mum-Ra's old sword, the Sword of Plundar, yes, I know, you gotta love these old cheesy names, is discovered by Chitara and Tigra in a cat slave colony. They sure do love flashbacks in this show. Even the sword is having a flashback. But how many times do you get a cartoon where the swords are just as much a character as everyone else? I mean, that's pretty cool.
You must first oversee the creation of the weapon, one forged from the blood of a star.
Just to really show you how evil Mum-Ra is, he does a Darth Vader to a whole galaxy and compresses it all into a metal that is used to forge the Sword of Plundar. And that blacksmith just has that little stool. No anvil. That's insanely impressive. 2 things. 1, if you compressed a whole galaxy into the size of a sword and a shield or gauntlet, do you have any idea how heavy those things would weigh? Like, they'd be unusable. They'd weigh so much. How dense would they be? Is it even like possible for them to be that dense? I feel like you're just creating a black hole at that point. 2, did you ever think it was weird how Mum-Ra is like, the villain is just an Egyptian mummy in a world full of furries? I thought so too. Turns out, now that I think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Because remember, the Thundercats are aliens. Both of them are aliens by the simplest definition of the word. And so, like, when conspiracy theorists try to argue that, like, the pyramids were actually built by aliens in the past, and, like, there's no way that, like, older civilizations can figure out math and critical thinking, they expanded on that, and, like, the alien is Mum-Ra. It actually makes, like, a lot of sense, and it's kind of cheeky, and I like it. Obviously, Mum-Ra gets the Sword of Plundar. We saw that would happen. They need to amplify the bad guy for the big final fight. Sunlight, youch, I'll be back. Every time they need Mum-Ra to leave, the sun comes up. He's like a vampire. It's a little bit of a cop-out. You'd think he'd just bring an umbrella or something. Like, he can inhabit the body of titans in order to survive in the sunlight, and he really doesn't do much with this power other than a one-off episode just to show off how cool and powerful he is. Also, Liono got a new girlfriend. For my D&D fans out there, a bag of holding is canonical in Thundercats, just saying. I knew the producers were a couple of nerds, but wow. Also, this is a very important detail that will come back later. Did Liono really need to have his own girlfriend? Like, sure, he deserves a relationship, but this early in the show, it feels very forced. He's only into her because she's the only one available. The ending to the first and only season is they manage to make a big plane so they can go to the sky and find the next Power Stone. They find a floating city in the sky, they get attacked and caught. Of course, it's bird people. I'm not sure what I imagined.
And now you tell me giving you our stone is the key to peace? seeing you pit nations against each other so they might never rise against you. I think we'll hold on to it. Thank you very much.
That new girlfriend ends up being useful as they force their way to the Power Stone. Maybe I do like her. Then Birdman tells them, hey, you know, like the stones were scattered for a good reason. Like they are kind of the center of inequality between all the species, you know?
The tech stone generates anti-gravity emissions that keep the entire city afloat. It will only be moments before this whole place crashes to the ground like a rock.
Mum-Ra shows up and it's time to fight. Mum-Ra decimates them and the bird people are so inspired by his power, he actually decides to join him and betray the Thundercats. They were already racist against cats, so that checks. Mum-Ra takes the stone. The city starts falling.
Humaira, throw it!
You are my king, but he is my master.
So that's why they added her to the plot. It wasn't to give him a girlfriend, it was to give him trust issues. Big scary transformation, another flashback. Of course, when Thundera fell, this girl actually died. Mum-Ra summoned her soul and said, hey, did your king disappoint you? You know who won't disappoint you? The embodiment of literal evil right here. So she joined him. Thank goodness Tigra and the Thundercats got his back. But wait! Turns out Wily Kit and Wily Cat are the heroes here. They went back to the surface and gathered every person they ever helped as reinforcements. Turns out the bag of holding was important after all. I thought that would be a throwaway detail when I first watched this. Now they got a mini army, and with the power of friendship and mercy and kindness and all that other good stuff they taught us in the season, they overpower Mum-Ra and Liono's ex-girlfriend.
Come, beloved.
Beloved? Excuse me? They're doing the nasty? What, isn't she dead? The soul nasty? I know Pumaira, Liono's ex-girlfriend, I never actually said her name. Like, she was in the original series, okay? I'm aware. But from what I've read, because I have never watched like the entirety of the original series, I've only caught snippets here and there, I don't think she ever betrayed the Thundercats. I could be wrong. Don't get me wrong, I could be wrong. So if there's an OG fan out there that can correct me and educate me, I would love for you to comment and tell me whether or not this is actually like a plot twist or not. Landing a plane is easy. Have you ever landed a city? Panthro has. So the day is saved, kinda. Yeah, that's the end. The war never finished, we never got a big fight with Mum-Ra, and we'll probably never get another season. Liono proved himself a great leader and successfully united the species under him, at least some of them. You guys are cool. The 2011 reboot only lasted one season, and you might be thinking it's because of Cartoon Network's inability to merchandise their properties because they have that problem. Like that's a thing. But you'd be wrong. They had pretty much every variation of toy you could think of. They were banking on this show being their cash cow. I mean, like it was basically supposed to be a competitor to Avatar. Everything from playsets to chibi figures to 4-inch action figures, 6-inch action figures. And I mean, like you've already seen the Sword of Omens. I already talked about the Thunder Tank. Took me a second to remember what it's called. I had this as a kid. This was my favorite toy. I love this sword. I think the Sword of Omens is such, this is like the handle expanding and like, it's such a good design. So how is this show left in the dust? I have two main theories. First is that kids didn't really connect with it as much as they hoped. Like not every kid was going to have a dad that grew up watching Thundercats and wanted to bridge their childhoods together like I did, and using the 2011 Thundercats as a vehicle for that. More importantly, Avatar is about a bunch of kids, and Thundercats is about a bunch of young adults. So like, it's a lot easier for kids to identify with other kids rather than the like immature, yes. Like in the original Thundercats, Liono is supposed to be a child in an adult body. I know it's weird, and I never mentioned that until now, and I know it's weird, but yeah, he's supposed to be a child in an adult body, like Shazam style. But like, in this version, he's just immature and just is a young adult. Another theory is that toy sales weren't good, which I went to a toy shop in order to try to find Thundercats toys, and they didn't have any. They had a Batman Brave and the Bold one, that was cool. And some people say that the toy sales were bad. Some people say that the toy sales were actually really good, and so there's competing information on that, and so I'm not sure. But the other thing is that you gotta remember that during this time, Cartoon Network was in a rocky financial situation. Thundercats was airing around the same time, or maybe just like a little bit after their live action segments. Do you remember that? And like the whole reason they wanted to do live action shows on Cartoon Network is because live action shows are usually a lot easier and cheaper to produce, and you can do a lot of them fast. They financially support a show that was on the same level as Avatar. Like, so much animation is streamlined nowadays because animation is expensive. And nobody in my generation knew about Thundercats. Like, it wasn't actually that strong of an IP, if you ask me. Like, how many people know about He-Man? I am not attracted to watching He-Man whatsoever. None of He-Man clicks for me. And Thundercats is like the step sibling to He-Man. Not only that, but the 9.0 earthquake in Fukushima caused a nuclear power plant disaster. And the animation behind this show, Studio 4C, was just below in Tokyo, so the animation costs skyrocketed. But beyond that, a lot of the older fans, like the original OG fans of Thundercats that were watching this show to like reconnect with their childhood, they didn't like the changes they made, even though they were objectively better than the original. You can fight me on that. I mean, I experienced this firsthand. I remember my dad not being super jazzed about watching the show eventually. Like, he just slowly stopped having interest, and I had to like bug him, like, hey, let's watch Thundercats together. He's like, oh yeah, okay, I guess we can. And like, he appreciated the show, like for what it was, but I get the sense that a lot of OG fans wanted their childhood. And some people reported that the airtime for Thundercats was being jumped around, and so it was basically impossible to find when Thundercats was playing, and that is not an uncommon thing with Cartoon Network during this time. Like, I don't know why, they were basically self-sabotaging themselves all the time. And this was around the time when streaming services were becoming very mainstream, so even Avatar, or The Legend of Korra, was having trouble competing with streaming services. So this show didn't really stand a chance. I think this is a hidden gem that deserves a second chance. I would even be happy if we just got a whole new reboot that restarted the whole thing and we just completely ignore the 2011 one and just start fresh. Fine, if that's what we have to do, I will take it. I want Thundercats to have a comeback. Now, there is a comic book series, but it's based on the original 80s series, which is fine, but I love this version of Thundercats. Obviously, I grew up with this version. I'm biased. So if you're a classic Thundercats fan, maybe give this show another chance. And where is Thundercats now? It's not just a comic book. Don't forget, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys forgot, Cartoon Network was streamlining all of their animation, and so they had the IP to Thundercats, so they tried Thundercats Roar, which was like a comedic version of Thundercats that was very Teen Titans Go-esque. They were basically just trying to recreate the success of Teen Titans Go with Thundercats Roar. And this one was also based off the 80s version, okay? I feel like your fan base is divided now with Thundercats. So, like, that in itself probably means that Thundercats is probably never gonna get a reboot because the fan bases are divided. We see that problem with Monster High, we see that problem with so many other IP nowadays. But, like, nobody asked for Thundercats Roar, and nobody cared for Thundercats Roar. Now, the only real sensible way to get a show like this that's on the same level as the 2011 series is to either pitch it to a streaming service that has enough capital to fund the show, or start a Kickstarter campaign, like with Vox Machina, so that you can have enough capital to start the show and then eventually pitch it to a streaming service because they basically have the entirety of the market dominance right now. And Cartoon Network has been slowly dissolving as time goes on, like not even the website is up anymore, and they are not in a position to even attempt something on the scale of Thundercats again. Ugh, it hurts my soul, but you know what doesn't hurt my soul? Free cash. Thanks for sponsoring this video. You can see what you've accomplished at the bottom of your chosen game. It's easy to use, it's efficient, and is one of the most user-friendly systems I've seen yet. Get your $5 bonus for any user starting off signing up now. I would play several different app games casually, and when I went back to check my progress, I was shocked to see how much money I had earned. The more offers you complete, the more rewards you unlock. Use my link in the pinned comment down below or the QR code to sign up now and start earning for yourself. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay beautiful and keep playing.